Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Atha Navamodhyayaha. This is the ninth discourse of Bhagavan Krishna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is the ninth chapter in Bhagavad Gita. The name of this chapter is Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga. Raja Vidya means the kingly knowledge or the kingly Vidya, and Raja Guhya means the kingly secret. This Vidya is that kingly knowledge, the supreme knowledge, and this is the greatest secret also. There are 34 shlokas in this chapter, and this chapter itself begins with the words of Bhagavan Krishna. So let us go into the chapter. Shri Bhagavanuvacha idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyamanasurave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshase shubhat. Bhagavan Krishna says to Arjuna that this Vidya is indeed Guhyatamam. Guhya means that which is a secret, hidden, not available to all. So this is very secret, and tamam, that is the tama is the suffix used in the Sanskrit grammar Vyakarana to indicate that superlative degree. So Guhyatama means the greatest secret or the secret of the secrets. This knowledge is a great secret. Pravakshyamaham, I will declare that knowledge to you. Anasuyave, why do I declare this knowledge to you? Because you are anasuya. You do not have that asuya. So what is asuya? Asuya means generally we say it as jealousyness. Jealous, when do we feel or when do a person feel jealous on others? When we want to do something, by some reason we cannot achieve it. When the other person achieved that, then we feel asuya on them. I say, especially if that person is not that in enemy to us or not in that contact with us, then we feel asuya on them. Or we might think that this person cannot do all this, they can only do this much. And we itself, we imagine and we assume a level of development for that person. And if that person, that opposite person, go beyond that level, then we feel assured that on that particular person. But in this context, in the Shastra, what is said is, if we talk ill about others, if we find always the defect in others, fault finding, some people they find they enjoy fault finding. When we find fault with others, what is the psychology behind it is, I am pure. When the other is doing something wrong, then it implies that I am pure, only he is doing it or he or she is doing it. So this fault finding mind, it reduces our intelligence. When we find fault in others, we keep on repeating it in our mind. We enjoy it. We always find some happiness in the weakness of others. What happens by all this is, when we enjoy or when we constantly find fault in others, that fault itself, the fault in others itself, it forms deep impression in our mind because we enjoy it. We enjoy finding fault in others. So that forms deep impression in our mind. And after some time, we tend to do that same wrong thing. We tend to repeat it because it has formed a deep impression in our mind. By this, the purity of the mind is gone, and when we have all this habit, then this vidya is not suitable for them. Because when we feel jealous of others or when we find a fault with others, basically what happens is, I am different, I am superior, that's why I do not have anything bad or anything wrong, and you are inferior. This is separation that is not fit for Brahma Vidya. Because Brahma Vidya is that knowledge or that Vidya that erases or tries to remove the separation, tries to remove that individuality. But when our mind indulge in separation or seeing the others as different or seeing the weakness in others and think that I am superior, then we will become more and more egoistic. So this vidya is not suitable for them. Since Sri Arjuna does not have that habit or that state of mentality, Bhagavan Krishna is telling, I am declaring this greatest secret to you, Arjuna, because you do not have that asuya mind. An asuya way, you does not cavil on others or you does not see default in others. You do not have that mentality, so you are fit for that knowledge. And in the next line, Bhagavan Krishna is telling, Jnana Vijnana Sahidam. Jnana means just gathering information or through any source, by reading Shastras, by going to share the Saptahas or like that, some way or other. And in today's lifetime, it is so easy to gather information, is it not? There are so many libraries, so many different sources of information. It's coming to our ears. And social media it's a great boon for collecting information. So what we collect information, have that, think about it, that is jnana. But this is indirect knowledge. This is not direct knowledge. When we experience or realize it, then it becomes the direct knowledge. That's why in science, science is said as vijnana, because science is not only information and data. If, for example, if we study the physics subject, then it is not only information. We immediately go to the laboratories and do experiments and prove that it is right, that information is right. So, Vijnana means direct knowledge, realization, or experience. So, Bhagavan Krishna is telling, I am giving you both Arjuna, Jnana and Vijnana, information and my experience of that knowledge or the realization of that knowledge. So, Bhagavan Krishna is telling, you are fit for that knowledge because your mind is pure, your mind doesn't have any jealousiness or fault finding nature, and so your mind is pure. So, I am declaring both Jnana and Vijnana to you. So, Bhagavan Krishna is telling, Jnana Vijnana Sahidam Pravakshyami. I am declaring this knowledge to you, Arjuna. Yet Jnatva, by knowing this, what is the use of knowing it? Moksha se ashubhat. Moksha se freedom or liberation from what? Ashubha. Ashubha means evil. That's why Bhagavan Krishna is telling, if I declare this knowledge to you, then you will not have that any evil mentality. You will try to see everyone as equal. So this knowledge I will declare to you, Arjuna. That's the introduction verse, the shloka of this chapter given by Bhagavan Krishna. Now the second shloka. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susuham Kartumavyayam. In this shloka, Bhagavan Krishna is telling about the nature of this vidya or the quality of this knowledge. It is Raja Vidya, that is the supreme knowledge. There are many vidyas, many vidyas. And this vidya is Raja Vidya. Why is it called the kingly knowledge or Raja Vidya? Why is it called? What's the reason behind it? Because all the other knowledges in this world, they tend to change by time. They change by time, isn't it? Just to take about the space science. Some times back, we thought that no one can land on moon. Now, Chandrayaan is there. When we see the moon, we are seeing it with the Chandrayaan, isn't it? So it tend to change, and sometimes after this, in future, who knows what will happen to this space science? How, in which direction will it go? Can anyone guess? No. So it tend to change. The medical science, each new day, new disease, new medicine, and new diagnosis. So this anything, whatever knowledge may be there in this creation, it tend to change by time. Not only that, no vidya is complete. If it is complete, then it cannot evolve. Since it is incomplete, day by day it is improving. So it is incomplete. All the knowledges are incomplete. They change by time. Only Brahma Vidya, it gives contentment and fearless nature. All the other knowledge, whatever field we take or whatever subject, whatever it may be, it gives a fear. It gives a fear and it change by time and it doesn't give us contentment. Do you think the greatest scientists they are content with their knowledge? No, they are not content. That's why they always work in the laboratory. They are always in the laboratory doing something or other, mixing this and that. No one is content with their knowledge. If they are content, then they won't work. Just to see the jnani. He knows everything. He knows everything as Brahman. And no more he studies, so he doesn't care for anything else. How many of us who has attained other knowledge are so free and so liberated? So that itself implies that Brahma Vidya is only the secured knowledge. So this knowledge is said as Raja Vidya. This is that complete knowledge, even though it is infinite. We realize ourselves as infinite. So that's why it's Raja Vidya. Then Raja Guhya, it's supreme secret. Why is it said as the supreme secret? Because all the other knowledges they can be proved by the five senses, or by we can see it by the mind, by the senses, or we can understand it by the mind. But this vidya is beyond all that. So there is no real proof for this knowledge. So because of that, if the person who gets this knowledge doesn't have the purity of mind, then they doubt this knowledge. They doubt this knowledge, they talk ill about this knowledge. So, this knowledge is not fit for all. Only when we have at least a decent level of purity of mind, then we can understand what the Shastras say, what the Guru says. So, this Vidya is not fit for all. That's why in the ancient time, this vidya is not commonly available. Even for the kings, that is Nrupa, they have to go to the forest to attain this knowledge. They may be great rulers of the land, but they have to attain this knowledge, they have to go to the forest. It is the same for even Bhagavan Krishna or Bhagavan Sri Ram. They all went to the interior of the forest to attain this knowledge. So that's why it is kept so secret. It is not available to all because all will not have the maturity to attain this knowledge. I think it's Sri Adi Shankaracharya. He was the first guru who brought this knowledge from out of the forest to the land, and he learned Brahma Vidya from his guru, and he gave lectures about this knowledge He traveled widely in India from north to south, east to west. So when he will go to a particular village, any village, and he will tell about this knowledge. So many of the villagers, they all gathered around him and know about this knowledge. Though they do not know about this knowledge very deeply, they at least they are aware of this knowledge. So this knowledge is guhya, very precious, secret. Because when there is misinterpretation, then this knowledge becomes waste. It will not reach the right mind. So misinterpretation, that's very common now. Everything is misinterpreted. So if this knowledge go to that person or that mind who misinterprets this knowledge, then this divinity of this knowledge is wasted, isn't it? So it is kept as a secret. The next word is pavitra. Pavitra means that is pure. This knowledge purifies the person. This vidya purifies a person. Purifies means in what sense? For example, in our lifetime, we may do a lot of rituals, tapas, upasana, many things. We go to religious places, but all that multiplies our punya karmas. So the number of punya karmas, it just goes on and on and on. And all that improves our punya karmas, but that doesn't erase our papa karma. The papas will be like that, but it improves or it multiplies our punya karma. Because of that, what happens is the papa will be there, the punya will also be there. That's why in this materialistic world, we see many people who have done a lot of punyas. They will be punyatmas. They may be professionally extremely successful, very rich businessmen, or in any other profession doing punya karmas continuously. In their life, there will definitely be a dark spot. Definitely they will have some disadvantages or something to worry in their life. They may come over it or they may not care for it or ignore it, but they have something in their life to worry about. All the rich people or all the people who are extremely privileged, they too have a dark spot in their life. That is because of their crores and crores or millions and millions of punya karmas, they experience everything good. But therefore, this does not erase the papa karmas. The papa will be there, so they experience something to worry also, some misery in their life or some dark spot in their life. Once when we attain this knowledge, it erases both our papa and punya. So, because why this happens is all our papa and punya, whatever it may be, it is connected to our ahankara. And by knowledge, when we realize I am infinite, this ahankara is lost. So with that is lost all the papas or punya. You might have seen many jnanis or the yogis. They just do not care for their negative prarabdha karmas. So even some jnanis or siddhas, they have some physical ailments or some difficulties in life, but they just ignore it or they do not feel it, they or may not be aware of it itself. That is because of their jnana. So but all the other people, they worry about it, they also may overcome it, but still it is a dark spot in their life. So that is the greatness of this knowledge. It purifies the mind. It purifies the mind, and the person, that individual, he does not feel any karma phala. He remains as Atma. The next nature of this jnana, that is this vidya, is uttama. Uttama means, of course, it removes the ahankara. It removes our individuality. So we feel that I am infinite. From when? From when do we feel that infinite? Pratyaksha. Immediately, then and there. When I attain this knowledge, now everyone has the theoretical knowledge, but when we realize it, when we experience that I am infinite, that's all, the individuality is gone. And once when we realize that I am that infinite, then that feeling or that experience is there, it is permanently there. After that, it will not go. It is permanently there. And that's why this knowledge is avyaya. Avyaya means imperishable. We tend to forget many vidyas. We write one semester, the next semester we forget what we have learned in the last semester. But this vidya is not like that. When we realize it, then it is permanent. No one can erase this vidya after that. So, and it is dharma. Dharma also righteous only. No adharma. If we have that adharmic nature, then this vidya will not, we cannot attain this vidya. So it is dharma. Kartum susuham. It is very easy to practice this knowledge because some people, they do kora tabas, they do a lot of penance, make this body suffer and do many rituals. But all these are not there in Brahma Vidya. So easy. We have to understand it, contemplate on it, realize it. That's all. So this Vidya is easy and it is perfect. It is so imperishable. No one can erase it after that. And you might have seen the many Ashuras, they do Kora tabas. No one can do tabas like them. But since they have their Papa karmas, at the end of experiencing all the Punya karmas, they have to get the pala for their Papa also. So, but this Vidya is not like that. It erases or distance ourselves from both Papa and Punya. And we feel, or we always feel, that I am infinite and I am that Brahman. I am all pervading. Definitely that this Vidya makes that person feel that. अश्रद्धाना पुरुषाः धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्युसंसारवर्त्मनि. Ashraddhana Purushaha. If a person doesn't have Shraddha in this knowledge, then he is not qualified. His mind is not mature or his mind is not qualified for this knowledge. Faith is very important in whatever we do, and in this knowledge, that is the only thing we need. We get information from many sources. So, what we do? We think repeatedly about that information. By this repeated thinking, we develop a faith in what we receive or what the information we have. Then, only this faith becomes knowledge, and knowledge becomes experience or realization. So, faith is the basic thing one must have to for liberation. If we do not have faith, then and there itself, this knowledge will be of no use to that person. For example, if I get information from someone or by reading newspapers or by any source, I get an information that if I go to that faraway temple in that mountain area, then I will get a lot of punya. So what I do, I think this is information, bare information. So I think about it repeatedly. I develop a faith in it. When I develop a faith, I take action and I go to that place. So this, when I go there, I experience it, and this becomes knowledge. Only when the faith becomes knowledge, that knowledge can be shared with others. If we do not have a faith, then that information or knowledge should not be shared with others. So it is a chain. Information leads to faith, faith leads to knowledge, and that knowledge is experience or realization. So faith is a basic thing. If a person doesn't have that faith, Ashradhana Purushaha, a person who doesn't have faith in what? In this dharma, that is in this vidya, Aprapyamam, he will not attain me. Bhagavan Krishna says, he will not attain me. Nivartante, then he will return. Where? Mritya samsara vartmani, he will return to this world which has the samsara. Samsara means repeated birth and repeated death. So he will return to this world of death. If he doesn't have a faith in this knowledge, he will not attain me and he will return to this world only. The next two shlokas, that is shloka 4 and 5, are very important. Actually, the shlokas 4 to 10, it explains the Advaita philosophy, and that too, 4 and 5 shlokas, it explains the core Advaita philosophy. It can be, some acharyas, they say this shloka as Jnana shloka. It explains the Advaita philosophy, very profound shlokas. So I will read out both the shlokas 4 and 5 continuously. Only then we can understand the meaning. Maya tadamidam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani nachaham teshvavasthitah न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम् भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थाः ममात्मा भूतभावनः. In the fourth shloka, Bhagavan Krishna says, Maya tathamitam sarvam. Maya tatham means pervades. I pervade all this. I pervade this jagat. I pervade all the jagat. How does he pervade? Avyakta murtina, in the unmanifested form. I pervade everywhere in the unmanifested form. Matsthani sarvabhutani. In me, all the beings exist. Na cha aham teshvavastitah. I do not exist in them. First, Bhagavan Krishna said, I pervade everywhere. As an avyakta rupa, that is as in the unmanifested form. I pervade everywhere. That is first Bhagavan Krishna said. Next he is telling, I exist and they all exist in me, but I do not exist in them. For example, let us imagine there are many pots and they are all filled with water. So the water exists in the pot, isn't it? No, Bhagavan Krishna doesn't accept that. Suppose there are many pots immersed in a lake, then what happens? The pots also filled with water and all the pots are immersed in the lake. So just like that, Bhagavan Krishna is telling, they all exist in me, but I do not exist in them. And the fifth shloka is more paradoxical. Bhagavan Krishna says, Nacha matsthani bhutani. They also do not exist in me. So what is Bhagavan Krishna telling by these paradoxical statements? That's why these two shlokas are very important in this chapter. They are the core of Advaita philosophy. Bhagavan Krishna first says, I pervade all. I am everywhere. I am not in them. They are in me. And Bhagavan Krishna again says, even they are not in me. I support them. That's all. Now, an example can make this more clear. For example, the traditional example for Vedanta is, I don't think there is any more perfect or good example than this pot and the clay and the snake and the rope example. So, first let us take the clay and pot. The clay exists, and from it, and because of it, many pots are made. So now the clay exists, and this clay exists in the pots also. And the next thing is, all the pots are made of clay. So the pot or any object made of clay is dependent on the clay. What is dependent is said as mithya, and what is independent is said as satya. Why do we say that clay is satya? Because even without the pots or the objects made of clay, the clay exists, is it not? But the pot cannot exist without the clay. Another example, the ocean and waves. The waves appear in the ocean. Because the ocean exists, the waves appear. The waves are dependent on the ocean. Now, telling about this philosophy, what Bhagavan Krishna said. Bhagavan pervades everywhere. We all are dependent on Bhagavan. So, this is the meaning of the first shloka. Bhagavan says, all this is pervaded by me in my unmanifested form. All beings, they exist in me, just like the pots exist in the clay. Even without the pots, the clay can exist. So the pots exist in clay. The waves exist in the ocean. Even without the waves, if you see the center of the ocean, there will not be many waves. So even without the waves, the ocean can exist. So that's what Bhagavan Krishna is telling. Matstani sarva bodhani. In me, all of them exist. Nachaha, but I do not dwell in them. So this is the fourth sloka. Now this Advaita philosophy is a little bit different and unique than all the other philosophies. Now let us do a very brief analysis about all the other philosophies and how the Advaita philosophy is different from all of them. When we say Ishvara, Ishvara has two nature. One is seeing Brahman with Maya, that is Ishvara. He is the creator of this Jagat. The other thing is when we improve our knowledge, when a Bhakta goes beyond the Saguna Brahma Upasana, that is, if a Bhakta see that core of Bhagavan, leaving the form of Bhagavan, form and Nama, then he see only Brahman, not Maya. So the true nature of Ishvara, first for an ordinary Bhakta seeing Brahman with Maya, that is Ishvara. He is the creator of this Jagat and he is this Saguna Brahman. That is Brahman with qualities because the qualities of the Maya are superimposed on Brahman. The other way of seeing this Ishvara is seeing Brahman alone, leaving the Nama, Rupa, everything. Now, here in the Advaita philosophy, the Nirguna Swarupa of Brahman is explained. And that is also explained in these two shlokas. Nirguna Brahman means Brahman without any qualities. Actually, Ishvara is the creator of this Jagat. How does he create? using his power Maya. As the Nimitta Karana, Bhagavan using this Maya created this Jagat or this world. Nimitta Karana means the instrumental cause. For example, a potter, he creates many pots using the clay. Just like that, Bhagavan, he using this Maya, he formed this Jagat, that is this world. Now, the Advaita philosophy, what it says is, and how is it different from that other philosophies is, in the Dvaita philosophy, Ishvara and Jagat are separate. Ishvara is the created and the Jagat is the created world. Ishvara is supreme and Jagat is the created universe. Jagat means world, it is the world. So Bhagavan is different from Jagat. Advaita philosophy refutes this concept because when we say that Bhagavan or Ishvara created this world and separate from this world, which implies that there is something external to Ishvara. This Jagat is external to Ishvara. So this reduces the nature of Bhagavan or Ishvara. Bhagavan is infinite. He is all inclusive. There is nothing other than outside or external to or other than Bhagavan. There is no second, only infinite. That infinity is Bhagavan. Brahman, you can say it as Brahman or Ishvara. So since Jagat is separate from Bhagavan, Bhagavan is supreme and Jagat is created by him. So Jagat is outside Bhagavan. This is not acceptable to Advaita philosophy. It is just like telling this space is vast, but there is a small akasha inside it. So infinite means everything is included. So Advaita philosophy does not accept it. Now the next is the Visishtadvaita philosophy. Visishta means Advaitam only, but different, a little different from Advaita philosophy. What it says is, this Jagat is the Anga, part of Bhagavan or Ishvara or Brahman. When we say part means my hand is a part of my body, my eyes are a part of my body, everything is part of my body. So when there is a little pain or in my this part of my body, there is, for example, if I have a small cut in my this finger, then will that not affect my whole body? A defect in anga will definitely affect the angi. A defect in the part will definitely affect the whole. So this concept cannot be accepted by Advaita philosophy. Bhagavan is beyond all that. He is not affected by the impurities of the Jagat, impurities of our mind, or otherwise the asuya nature of all the beings will affect Bhagavan. Then just imagine about his nature. So he is pure. The defects of the anga doesn't affect the angi, and so Bhagavan is pure. If we have parts, if we are all parts, if the Jagat is the part of Bhagavan, then it affects Bhagavan. The impurities of the part affects the whole. So that concept is refuted by the Advaita philosophy. Now the third thing is the Shuddha Dvaita. That is, Bhagavan is all. He is the object. When we say that, then we are telling that Bhagavan is that impurity also. No. This is not acceptable for that Advaita philosophy. Bhagavan is pure. He is not polluted by anything. So these have become the Purva Pakshas for the Advaita philosophy of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. These, that is the Visishtadvaita, Dvaita, Shuddhadvaita, they are all the Purva Pakshas. Now the Advaita philosophy, what it says is, it introduces the concept of Satya and Mithya. Satya is something that cannot be changed at all. It doesn't change in the three periods of time, in the past, present, and future. It is permanent, it doesn't change. That is a Satya. Asatya means what? It doesn't exist in the three periods of time. Can you have anyone seen a lotus blooming in the Akasha Padma? No. So that is Asatya. Now, what is Mithya is? It exists, but it doesn't exist. That is, it is an appearance, but it doesn't exist in reality. Just like the mirage we see in the hot sun when we travel, we see mirage, isn't it? So, just like that, it is an appearance, but when we observe it, it is not there. Just like that, we all these beings, we are all appearance. In reality, we are all that Atma. That's why the Atma exists. This body perishes. It is not real. It's only the combination of five elements. And this five elements itself is Mithya. That's a great story. What are waves and ocean? The waves are another form of ocean. Is it not? The water in the ocean, it takes a form, and for that form, the nama is waves. The clay, when it is given a shape, it has a nama as pot. The pot is mithya, but the clay is satya. Another traditional example given by the Advaita philosophers is the rope and the snake. A rope is seen in a dim light, and because of our assumption or fear, it appears like a snake. Actually, the snake is not there, an appearance. We all exist. If we are permanent, this body and form must exist even after 1,000 years. We do not exist then. It's only a matter of time. So this body and form and nama is mithya. The reality is Brahman, which is our Antaratma. Now, in the next shloka, with this introduction, I would like to go to the next shloka, shloka 5. What Bhagavan Krishna says is, Nacha matstani bhutani. That is, nor do beings exist in me in reality. What he is telling is the core Advaita philosophy. For their appearance, for this Jagat to appear, I exist. I exist and I support them, that's all. Because I exist, they also exist. Without me, they do not exist. I only support them. I am not connected to them in any way. That's why the impurities of the Jagat does not affect Bhagavan. Because the rope exists, we impose the snake on it. Actually, the snake doesn't exist. Because the rope exists, we see snake on it. Because Bhagavan exists, we have taken a form. Because the clay exists, the pots took the form. So Bhagavan is telling the beings in reality they do not exist in me. Because of my yoga maya, I support all beings and not dwelling in them. Myself, that is the Atma, That is the cause of all the beings. The rope, only because it existed, it is the cause for this misassumption that it is a snake. Because the clay exists, the pots also exist. So the pot or the snake is the mithya, and the clay or the rope is the satya. In that drishtanta, that is in the example. Here in this shloka, Bhagavan is the satya. Because he exists, we all exist. So that is the deep Advaita philosophy to the core. I hope I made my point clear. I made this point clear. And Bhagavan Krishna himself explains this with another example in the next shloka, that is shloka 6. Yathakashasthito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani tyubadaraya. Bhagavan Krishna is giving this example. Just like the Akasha exists and the Vayu, it exists in it. In Akasha, that is in space, the Vayu exists. So just like that, I support your existence, that is the existence of the Jagat. Just like the Akasha supports the existence of the air. If the Akasha is not there, can the air exist? No. So it is the space, it supports the existence of Vayu or air. Just like that, I exist and I support your being or your form or nama, and you all exist in me. So this is the Asanga Tattva, that is the very great Tattva in the Advaita philosophy. Because only because of this Asanga Tattva, Advaita philosophy stands out. Or otherwise, the impurities of this Jagat will affect the Brahman, affect Brahman. Just to say, we have so much polluted air nowadays. If we go to cities, we can breathe only polluted air. But does that pollution of air affect the whole space? No, the pollution is there in the air only. It exists in space, so we feel that the space is also polluted, but actually the air, it contains pollution. When the air is purified, the space is also purified. When something has to be connected, then it has to be of the same nature. For example, when two things are gross, then it is connected. Now, see, I'm having this Bhagavad Gita book in front of me. Of course, the matter of this book is so subtle, but this book is gross. Very old book, many years old. And I have a glass table on which I have placed this book. They both are gross, so they can be connected. But when one is gross and another is subtle, it cannot be connected. Or a little bit gross and subtle cannot be connected. For example, the mirage we see, that is not in any way connected to the Prithvi. It is on the earth, it appears, but it is not connected. They both are separate. The colors of the mirage doesn't affect the Prithvi. So just like that, Bhagavan is so subtle, and all this is the appearances are so gross. So they are not connected, but the presence of Bhagavan, he supports the appearance or the existence of all other beings. Definitely, the drishtantas cannot be perfect. We cannot explain the core philosophy just like the drishtantas or the examples. To an extent, we can understand the philosophy by these drishtantas or by these examples. So, with that sixth shloka of this chapter, I take a break and continue with the rest of the shlokas of this chapter in my next video. यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयोद्भूति ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम। ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।